Okay, thank you again, everyone, for taking time out of your day, gearing up for the holiday season. We have a really great webinar for you today. We're joined today by the New York City Economic Development Corporation. They're going to be talking about their new program, phenomenal program, We Source New York City. Just at the top, I want to let everyone know that this presentation will be recorded and a copy will be made available to everyone that registered after the presentation. If you have any questions, you can feel free to put them in the chat and we'll either take a look at them during the presentation or there'll be a Q&A session at the end. So let's take a look at our agenda. We're going to do some brief introductions and we'll hear from NYCEDC about their program, We Source New York City. We'll talk about local law filing. We're just heading now towards the end of that period. Steam system retrofits, a couple of case studies, and then we'll open it up for a Q&A session. So first, we are Building Efficiency Services. For those that you're not aware, we really service high-rise multifamily and commercial buildings. We are participating contractors with National Grid and Con Edison, work closely with New York City Accelerator, and we offer steam system retrofits. We take a holistic approach and electrification solutions, and of course, local law compliance and incentives. And we've saved New York City now going over 3 million therms. With us today is the EDC. They are going to be presenting on We Source New York, a new program, fantastic program, really supporting small to medium-sized businesses that are taking part in the green movement in New York City. So I'm going to now call up Jesse and Erin and let them talk about the program a bit. Jesse, please go ahead.
Great. Thanks for that intro, Ari. I'm going to start and then Erin will take the second half of this. So again, my name is Jesse Weiss. I'm an assistant vice president at the New York City Economic Development Corporation, EDC for short. We are the city's economic development arm. We're a quasi-governmental agency really focused on growing New York City businesses and expanding jobs. We do that through our real estate portfolio. We control and manage about 64 million square feet around New York City. A lot of it is commercial industrial buildings, but there's infrastructure, there's residential, there's retail, markets, really you name it across the 5 boroughs. And then beyond our kind of real estate portfolio, leveraging that for economic development, we're also supporting kind of innovation sectors in New York and the green economy being a major innovation sector here. So I sit within our green economy team, and We Source NYC is one of the programs that I oversee. So on the next slide, you'll see We Source is really focused on supporting general, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing contractors to pivot into building electrification. Really focused on the small, medium-sized businesses, homegrown businesses that are probably doing work already within the building space and are either thinking about doing more electrification work or have already done some and seeing that as a business opportunity. This program has, just a little bit of the background, has run for about 9 months now. And this year it really was focused on offshore wind and helping industrial construction businesses get contracts on the Empire Wind 1 project. That's the large offshore wind project that's currently under construction and will interconnect into Brooklyn in 2027. But with this focus on building electrification, really we want to tap this existing capacity here in New York. A lot of these contractors who know how to do the work and see a business opportunity in supporting businesses to reduce their carbon footprint and comply with local law 97, which is really important and will continue kind of to be a big part of the city's policy around building electrification. So there's really like 2 groups that I want to speak to today, both contractors and people who need contractors. So if you're looking for qualified contractors, if you're a property owner, if you're a property manager, developer, if you're a GC or an engineer, or even like a distributor or supplier, we want to help you find qualified contractors here in New York City. So if you are working in building electrification space, please reach out to us. There's a few ways that you can get involved in We Source NYC. The first is most simply through our networking events. We have a bunch of events already scheduled, and we'll plan kind of throughout the year events where people can meet in person, virtually. Some of these are more kind of like happy hours. Some are more educational events and lunch and learns to learn about new technologies and new approaches to building electrification, and also just meet people face to face, to learn about what their offering is, see how you could potentially partner. If you have specific scopes of work, specific things that you need a contractor for, you can send it our way and we can help source, a handful of companies that are participating in our program. We can share kind of their capacity, the types of work they've done, and make connections for you so you can really vet these companies and see if they're right for your project. And then just staying abreast of our work through the We Source Dispatch. That's our biweekly newsletter. It has all of our programming, the resources available to the program, our events, and spotlights on some companies that are participating. And then if you're on the other side of the house, if you're a contractor, on the next slide, I'll show you kind of how you can get involved beyond just these three areas here. We'll be, again, please reach out to us. We'd love to meet with you and talk through all of our options of how we're supporting. Really in January is when we're really starting this work. The first is really through our roadmaps component, and that is free one-on-one support from a building electrification consultant that we retained. And they'll be working with about a dozen firms, providing a real plan to accelerate your growth in building electrification work. Beyond those dozen or so firms that we are providing that in-depth support to, we'll also be supporting others with other types of technical assistance, whether that's helping with pitches or navigating a procurement or scope of work, or figuring out ways to partner with others through joint ventures or similar structures. We have great partners through Aaron's organization, the Southwest Brooklyn Industrial Development Corporation and Bach Network, and have lots of experience working with small to medium-sized businesses in New York, really from financing to marketing to kind of all range of supports. There is a micro grant component to this program, really, relatively small grants of up to $5,000. And these are really meant to help cover expenses related to trainings or certifications or any equipment investments that you might need to make. Those micro grants, which Aaron will talk about in a bit, the actual application for that are open right now. So you can even, if you have not yet heard about We Source, that's one way you can kind of learn more about it and kind of pose ways that we can support your business. Networking events, which I just discussed, you'll have buyers and sellers kind of in the room, the people on the property side, either property managers, developers, engineers, and then also bringing in these contractors to learn about the opportunities. And again, our We Source Dispatch, our biweekly newsletter, you should definitely sign up to learn more about our events. So now I want to pass it over to Erin, really leads the day-to-day execution of our program, and tell you a little bit more about her work at the Southwest Brooklyn Industrial Development Corporation and a little bit more specific about the roadmaps and the events and the microgrants. So over to you, Erin.
Thanks, Jesse. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Erin Johnson. I'm the Senior Director of Green Economy Programs at SBIDC. That's the Southwest Brooklyn Industrial Development Corporation. Mouthful. But as our name implies, we are based in Southwest Brooklyn and serve the industrial businesses of Red Hook, Gowanus, and Sunset Park. And then we work in close partnership with the Business Outreach Center Network, BAC, to operate EDC's We Source program. So both of our organizations, SBIDC and BAC, we're industrial business service providers, and then we also partner with a network of other sister organizations across the city to connect to businesses across the 5 boroughs. So as Jesse mentioned, if you're looking for qualified contractors, we can help. We do a lot of matchmaking. We have a robust list of qualified firms. And then in addition to connecting local contractors to market opportunities, our organizations also provide general industrial business support services. So things like access to financing, support navigating government, real estate, business growth services, et cetera. And then through the We Source program specifically, we're also providing customized support to help our local contractors access market opportunities in the growing building electrification sector. You can go to the next slide, please. So, I'm going to reiterate what Jesse said, get into a little bit more detail, and kind of the support I just mentioned is all kind of general. If you come to us, we help. And these two are components of our technical assistance program that are more specific and application-based, the roadmaps and the microgrants. So as noted here, our roadmaps are free, customized business development support. With the growing market need for building electrification in New York City, we want to help our local businesses meet that need. So we're working with industry experts, as Jesse said, working with consultant who are providing their technical expertise. And so that, like I said, is one-on-one. You apply. We want to make sure businesses are the right fit for kind of what support the roadmaps can offer. So we'll evaluate that, and we'll be delivering 12 roadmaps kind of in looking to the first quarter of 2026. And yeah, really trying to help businesses flesh out what their growth pathway is in the sector, be it investing in trainings or equipment, updating marketing materials, getting back office in order. So working with a consultant to really get into the nitty gritty to help businesses map out what that growth looks like. And we'll be launching those in January, so stay tuned. And then microgrants are live now. We're certainly anticipating businesses who participate in the roadmaps would be able to use these funds for the recommended next steps, but these are open to other businesses as well. And then we've got microgrants up to $5,000. And again, that can be used to pay for things like attendance at industry conferences, send staff to trainings, pay for certifications, invest in equipment, that sort of thing. Next slide. And then events. We, really like bringing people together, building community, educating, whether it's on new technology or bringing in expert voices to help businesses bolster their operations or learn about opportunities. Networking. We just had an event last week with MPN Boilers, who brought their trailer out and provided a demo of their innovative new heat pump technology. That was very cool to see in action. We had a workshop yesterday to help businesses with back office operations, which can be a real challenge for small businesses. And then we've got a few more planned in the new year. So this is kind of what's on the docket right now. All of these events are live online, so I'll share links for registration, and we'll have more details there. And yeah, these first few coming up are all virtual. Won't make you trek out anywhere in the winter cold, and they'll all be lunch and learn style. So that means they'll be over lunchtime, noon to 1:30. And yeah, bringing in some experts to share more on whether it's, kind of we're doing a primer on geothermal energy, what businesses need to know, what the opportunities are, what that's looking like in New York City right now. A lot of opportunities would be helpful for businesses to be able to form joint ventures, but it's pretty complicated. So we'll have some experts join us for that one. And then the first one coming up in January is focused on, like the event says, market opportunities and RFPs for sustainability. So specifically in these types of opportunities, just providing some, this is, a field that a lot of small businesses kind of avoid because the RFPs are not fun, a lot of work. And so wanting to support them in being able to not miss those opportunities because they're small. And March event that we're working in the works, but wanted to bring people together, provide a networking opportunity. We'll have a little bit of structure there, but more to come on that. So yeah, that's what we've got planned right now. And would love to have you join us. If you can go to the next slide. We'll share links with you all afterwards on microgrant application, events, and I can drop them in the chat as well. but best way to stay up to date is to sign up for our newsletter. As Jesse mentioned, it goes out twice a month, our dispatch. So you can scan this QR code. And then, yeah, you can stay up to date on, additional events. We'll announce the roadmaps there once that application goes live. And then, of course, feel free to reach out directly to Jesse or myself.
Great. Thank you so much, Jesse and Erin. Feel free to take a screen capture of the contact information up on the screen. And of course, recording and slide deck will be sent out after the presentation as well. Just a quick note about Jesse. I've seen him around the circuit, really fighting the good fight on behalf of New York City to get us down to net zero. Super responsive, really great guy to work with. So definitely reach out to him with any questions about the program, or he can help in so many different ways. Before I go on, actually, because I'm curious, I think we kind of also fit that maybe sweet spot with that kind of small to medium size. I'm wondering, what is the process to kind of sign up, and how are you vetting businesses to make sure they're reputable and good for buildings to work with? Can you maybe talk a little bit on that?
Erin, maybe I'll start and you want to fill in.
Sure.
So for if you want to be actually part of our roadmap program, where you're getting this one-to-one support from our building electrification consultant, there's an application. So we're trying to keep it fairly light, not requiring too much information from the business, but at least give us some information to then go out and kind of assess your fit for the program, assess your experience, speak to maybe others that you have worked with. And so that's kind of our initial. We're not going to require a huge application, but we will do some kind of vetting of the companies to make sure both that they can benefit from our programming, and also that they're a reputable contractor. Definitely, suggesting that anyone who works with our contractors do their own due diligence. We're not like signing off and saying, take our word for it. Definitely, people should do their own due diligence, but that's one kind of mechanism for vetting. Erin, anything to add to that?
Yeah, in particular, right, we're looking to serve New York City specific businesses. We want to make sure that we're having local economic impact. And then, yeah, working with our consultant who can kind of assess, like, is this the right type of business to benefit? And, between SBIDC's network and our partner organizations, a lot of the businesses that we're engaging with are businesses we know or have been referred to us. Like Jesse was mentioning before, we started the We Source program focused on offshore wind. So we've been doing the roadmaps there. And so we have an application form. We have kind of a two-step process. There's an inquiry form first, which is just kind of baseline, who is your business? And then we can kind of filter from there and invite businesses to submit a full application that asks a little bit more information. We don't need tons and tons of documentation, but we do ask for a few examples of recent projects you've completed, some financials, to make sure you don't have any pending legal issues, those sort of things that we just kind of want to.
Okay, great.
Cross the T's and dot our I's.
Thank you for that. And then once a contractor or a service provider is accepted into the program, then some of these tools are going to be made available, I suppose, to them, which is the one-on-one kind of support with the roadmap, and then access to the micro grants, et cetera.
Yeah, so the micro grants are not specifically limited to the roadmap participants. Certainly the expectation is that, coming out of the roadmap, a business, there might be some financial things that they would want to use the micro grants for, but the micro grants are also open to other businesses who maybe aren't a fit for the roadmaps, or who maybe don't have the time to commit, but who
nice.
could benefit from like I said, small, up to 5K, and those are live now. So folks can, I'll drop the links in the chat.
Amazing. So you aim to, I guess, spread a pretty wide net with the microgrant program to support local New York City contractors or service providers, help move this along. Excellent. All right, great. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. So we're going to move along. Last opportunity to screenshot the contact information. Again, you'll get it in the slide deck afterwards. Okay, so I want to just talk about a little bit about local law filing. We're really just at the end now. By the way, important note, of course, the extension to the deadline, to file for an extension for local law 97 was August 29th. That has since passed a while ago. However, I have heard from a number of sources that if you haven't yet filed an extension, you should quickly do it now. There's no guarantee that later on there won't be a fine if you haven't yet filed yet, but I understand that it came from the DOB. If you haven't yet filed for an extension and you haven't filed your local law 97 yet, do it now, and it still may be beneficial to do that for you. The filing process, we've been now doing a lot of processing already. You start with DOB now. Your Energy Star portfolio manager is going to connect with Beam. The Beam is where you're actually doing the filing and submitting those reports. You have to keep in mind that I would allow at least a week or more for this whole process. And since now we're just about 2 weeks now before the end of the year, if you haven't yet begun the process, start now, because the systems integrate or share information overnight, and that process can easily take a week. Just paying your fee on DOB now. If you're doing Article 321, which is affordable housing, you don't really need to do the portfolio manager share with Beam, but all these systems take at least overnight to connect with each other. So until that payment is recognized through the Beam platform, make sure you allow time for that. And this is also covered in our tips. If you haven't yet requested an extension, do it now, even though we're way past that August 29th deadline. You have to create the Beam account with one of the 3 email addresses you specify with DOB now. Portfolio manager has to be connected with DOB now and then shared with Beam, and it's not required for Article 321. We're talking about like market rate Article 320, where that's required. That's for co-ops and condos. If you have a CBL dispute, we've had a number of those during this season. Once upon a time, we would write an email to GHG emissions and wait a couple of weeks to get a response. Now, through the knowledge base section of the Beam platform, there's a place to open up a dispute and ticket. And the guidance is to file as you expect. So if let's say your property is going to come in just under that 25,000 square foot, let's say we've had a couple of buildings like that. And right now it's still showing up on the CBL, your covered buildings list, which makes you responsible to file. Then don't file if you can show that you have a GFA, or you have a way to illustrate that you're under 25,000 feet, and open up that dispute ticket through Beam. Again, we're syncs overnight, so allow time for that. And your filing fee for local law 97 this year happens to include the local law 88 fee. So one fee would cover them both. This is the login screen for the Beam platform if you haven't seen it yet. And over here is that knowledge base. And you can see in the left-hand menu over there is the place to open a new ticket. So if you have any kind of dispute on, it might be your gross foot and out, the number of feet, and whether or not you should be in the covered buildings list, or perhaps, they have you under an Article 320 as a market rate property, when in fact, your rent roll will show that you are in Article 321, affordable housing. This is where you would open up your ticket and bring that up to them. So penalties are coming. They haven't yet really hit. We were just on a conference with DOB, and they have not yet been instituting or actually applying penalties. Technically, if you haven't yet filed, if you didn't file for an extension at the end of August and you have not filed your local law 97, technically you're right now in the penalty area. So they haven't yet sent out a round of penalties yet, but they are coming if you don't submit. And even if you're not in compliance, you should still file regardless. File and let them know you're not in compliance. With Article 321, it's $10,000 you're saving yourself just for filing something. And then, for another $10,000 if you are not in compliance. And then it gets really expensive with market rate buildings. You're basically 50 cents a square foot for every month that you haven't yet filed. So make sure you file something. And again, there's still time, I believe, to get in that extension if you haven't requested it yet. Reach out to us if you would like, have any questions or would like assistance with any of that. We're happy to help. There is, of course, penalty mitigation opportunities as well. If you haven't yet, right now we're on the 17th, so we only got about 2 more weeks to the end of the year. If you decide right now that you want to really take care of your, local law 97, if you're over the limit, this is for 320 up on our screen. So you're over the limit, which, from 2024 to 2030, there's a particular emissions limit. Then we can help you draft a decarbonization plan and avoid those costly penalties. This also might be relevant to kind of do a decarbonization plan if you have a lot of energy incentives available to your building that would really reduce the out-of-pocket costs. There's time that requires as well, the application for the incentives, the pre-inspection, the post-inspection, et cetera. So preparing a decarbonization plan will allow you additional time to avoid the penalties and also capture some incentives towards the work that you do. Similar with Article 321, again, make sure that you file something, and even if you're not in compliance, but if you haven't done the 13 measures, we can help, do all the 13 measures. And if we're, not able to do it in time before the end of the year, we've actually had service providers that we partner with that are contacting us saying, hey, we have clients, we don't have the manpower to get this done before the end of the year, to get our filing in. And we are working together with strategic partners to take on some of their work to be able to apply the labor, make sure it gets done in time. If you can't get it done in time and it won't be done before the end of the year, then we can still plan to avoid penalties. The worst thing would be to do is not do anything right now. And surprisingly, there's a really high percentage of buildings, probably some of them don't have to file this year. There are certain carve-outs, like if you have some affordable units or rent-controlled units, but there are a large percentage of buildings yet that have not reached out or touched DOB yet. We do offer a local law turnkey solution, and so what you see on your left over there is part of our report after a survey, and that will list out the 13 measures specifically for Article 321, where you're in compliance and where work needs to be done. We'll also propose the work. We handle the full incentive application process for buildings that are interested and that are eligible, mostly for gas buildings, oil, less incentives available for them, but we'll handle the pre-inspection, the post-inspection, working with the utility companies, making sure that we'll help you capture any available dollars to reduce those out-of-pocket costs. And we help with really old local laws, 97, 88, 84, and local law 152 we'll touch on briefly in a moment. So regarding steam system balancing, heating is still the biggest utility expense, and really it's responsible for about 70% of New York City's overall greenhouse gas emissions. And because of that, there's also really the biggest opportunity for savings in making these buildings run more efficiently with their steam heating. Regarding solutions, a lot of these show up on that 13 list for Article 321, the prescriptive pathway. We do master venting, TRVs and orifice plates. We'll talk about that in a bit. Steam trap repair, boiler controls, pipe insulation, boiler clean and tunes, which generally you're going to do at least once a year before heating season. A lot of buildings are doing it twice a year. And general steam system infrastructure upgrades. We take a holistic approach when diagnosing any kind of issues to really help you get the best steam system balance and maximum efficiency. So we work both in the common area and in unit. And let's say steam traps are on those kind of larger 2-pipe steam system buildings. TRVs are one of the measures required also in 2-pipe steam, not so much in the 1-pipe steam. They found to be effective, but not as effective as in a 2-pipe steam. Pipe insulation, orifice plates is a big one. And I'll spend a minute on that. We've been doing a lot of events and a lot of education around that, and we're doing a lot of jobs, a lot of big projects installing orifice plates. What they are essentially are engineered discs that are installed in the radiator inlet, and they allow the proper amount of steam into radiators. Radiators were originally built or engineered to be oversized. That goes back, they say, to the Spanish flu, when people were leaving their windows open in the winter. And of course, we've kind of changed. The big thing about orifice plates is that they eliminate the need to maintain steam traps, which fail basically every 3 to 5 years. And then you have to go into every single unit, or you start having imbalances in the system. Because steam is no longer hitting that trap, you are then eliminating the need for that costly maintenance. And master venting are these vents you will find on steam system mains in the boiler room and allow the steam to move through the system efficiently. A couple of years ago, we began a plumbing department, dedicated plumbing department, and we do new construction as well as repairs. We'll do from the plans. We'll also do maintenance contracts where we have projects reaching out to us for they want to have someone on speed dial for 24-hour, 24/7 emergency. We help with that as well. And L152 is what we touched on earlier. That specifically requires your natural gas connections to be inspected every 4 years by a licensed master plumber. We can help with inspections, correcting any violations, and filing any paperwork for your compliance. I want to just go over a couple of case studies briefly. NYCHA Packed Linden. It's a 20-building project in Brooklyn, about 1,600 units. This is two-pipe steam. So again, you have one pipe for the supply and one for the return, whereas a one pipe, it's all happening by gravity in one pipe. The larger buildings tend to be two-pipe steam system, and those are the ones with the steam traps that we looked at earlier. A big thing about these projects, they're a great opportunity for us to collaborate and to partner with other service providers. If we need vacuum pumps, let's say that's not something that we do in particular, so we'll bring in a company that specializes in that. Or if we have, let's say, a very interesting incentive on, let's say, to retrofit an elevator, and that would help us, let's say, capture a comprehensive program, an incentive program that is, and really reduce the out-of-pocket costs for the building on the overall project. We'll bring in and we'll partner up with someone like that. So there's all kinds of opportunities, and I would suggest or recommend that if we have some service providers right now on the call in the audience that would like to team up, maybe we can help with some of the work you have, and we can definitely also help connect you with some projects that we're doing that we need help with. Please definitely reach out for that as well. We did really a full retrofit over at Packed Linden, and we're able to capture the AMIP comprehensive incentive program for them. Mid-sized building, a smaller building, clean, oil-fueled, affordable. So this was an Article 321 building. We helped with the 13 measures. The thing about oil-fueled is that they are really not eligible for many incentives, energy incentives. Some for the electric, but the incentives are basically applied and captured through the utility companies like Con Ed and National Grid. And if if your building is still fueled by oil, then you're going to have less incentives available to you. However, we were able to save them about 15% of their energy costs and about 3,000 gallons of oil per year. And this is the project we actually just finished up last season, and we're really, really proud of this one. I don't know if you're familiar with the New York City Housing Authority at all, but they typically will have a lot of heating complaints during a heating season. They're very large projects usually. This one's 15 buildings and 1,800 units, also two-pipe steam. And after doing this particular project, retrofitting their steam system, and we did orifice plates over there as well, we went through a heating season without a single heating complaint from a tenant at New York City Housing Authority Patterson Houses. So we were really, really proud of that accomplishment. It's not only to reduce costs and run the system more efficiently and reduce emissions, it's also about tenant comfort and making sure that we're providing the best living environment and experience for tenants throughout New York City. What you see on your screen now is screenshots from our let's call them real-time dashboards from our programs or our projects. So let's say for Patterson houses, we were providing them these real-time reports, and they knew at a glance, at all times, what our crews were doing on any particular day or in any particular week, and they can closely monitor what percentage of a certain building was done or where they are at the project. Another important thing about this is, of course, we're also committed to reducing waste where we can and being like a fully tech, let's say, focused company where we're using devices in the field and we're not using any kind of paper. We're happy and proud to contribute with that as well. I want to now open it up for some Q&A, and I'm going to look up into our chat and see what we have. In the meantime, I'm going to post this up on the screen here, contact information, so you can reach out to Jesse and Erin or myself. And again, a copy of this deck will be made available shortly after the presentation. Let me take a look here and see what we have. Hang on. Okay, so it looks like we had some questions over here ready that were answered in the chat. Let's see. Okay, yeah, so the session is recorded. Okay, and we'll be sending it out shortly after the presentation. And we have someone here that is pitching his business. Thank you for that. Are you getting insurance for these contractors? That's an interesting question from Jessica. Jesse or Erin, you want to, I don't know if you've already responded to that. Maybe you want to speak on that. Insurance for these contractors.
I popped a response in the chat.
Thank you.
To just share here, it's not a requirement for roadmap application, but if in the process it is deemed that business maybe has inadequate insurance, it would certainly be a roadmap recommendation. And SBIDC or BACnet could also support businesses in say upgrading or improving insurance coverage.
Oh, nice. That's interesting. Yeah, it's one of the first questions we get is provide a certificate for your liability insurance, et cetera. Or okay, what is the relationship, if any, among EDC, New York City Accelerator, and NYCERDA? This is from Martha. Jesse, you want to speak on that?
Yeah, sure. Just to reiterate from the chat, so EDC, we partner really closely with the New York City Accelerator. We're already thinking about next year and how we get the word out about this program and their programming and how we might collaborate. And we'll also make sure that We Source businesses are on NYC Accelerator's directory, a place where people can find contractors. NYCERDA is another partner of EDC's. They're not officially part of We Source NYC, but again, working with them so we're not duplicating efforts and we're sharing out these resources so people know about our resources and NYCERDA's. So, good questions. There's tons of other, government, city and state agencies that we're collaborating with, whether it's the housing agencies at the city or state level, the mayor's office of climate and environmental justice. So definitely lots of players in this space and making sure that we're all, rowing in the same direction.
Awesome. Thank you. I do see a couple of comments that some people were having some trouble with the audio. I apologize for that. I'm not sure. I didn't experience it myself, but we'll have a recording sent out to you in case you missed anything. And I really apologize if there was an audio issue on your end. Let's see. Okay. Oh, I see Erin over here spoke about it's not a requirement for the roadmap application. Thank you. The software isn't allowing some registrants to hear. Apologize for that. Why Coney Bear? Is that right? I don't know, but we'll get a copy of the recording out to you, a link to it, and you'll be able to pick up on anything you missed. I apologize for any technical difficulties. I'm not sure if anyone else was having a similar issue. Question from Elliot. I provide special inspections as well as MEPFP design. How can I interface with EDC?
So that's probably a question for our capital construction team. All the opportunities that we do for our capital projects are publicly accessible and can be found on our website. I would suggest to go on EDC's website. You can actually sign up for it. So whenever there is a notification for a project, you can get alerted. Some of the work we do, a lot of the work we do, is we will pick like the general contractor or the construction manager, and then they will doing some of the subs. So if it's something special kind of on like the inspection side, it's probably not contracted directly with EDC, it's probably with one of our larger contractors. So you could, learn just projects, learn about opportunities, and then figure out how to kind of reach those appropriate channels. That's probably the most I could speak to. I'm less on our construction side of things.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you for that. There was a question, I think it popped up, but now maybe it was taken down. I don't know who asked it, but maybe I would just answer on this. There was a question about New York City Accelerator is in some kind of a transitional phase, and do we have any more information or something like that? And I say we work very closely with New York City Accelerator as well. We are a service provider and an award winner from them. The best information that we have right now also is that they are making some internal changes. A lot of their efforts were geared around education about Local Law 97 and specifically support with Article 321. For the most part, both of those should be probably less essential. I mean, most people are aware now of Local Law 97, and the deadline to do the 13 prescriptive measures is really this year. So probably a bulk of the education around those. So I think they're just kind of changing up their teams a little bit and their account managers, and we're waiting for some more information on them as well. We'll know, on a future webinar, we'll be happy to share information when we can. There's another question over here from Sal. Should IREM and BOMA provide additional support to the property managers who need further information and DOB compliance? I'm not sure what that is referring to. Are you familiar, Jesse, or no?
No, I don't think I can speak to that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it's referring to either. I see also Michael, please reach out to me. I'll follow up on this. Okay, I'm not sure what that is. Okay, excellent. I really appreciate your time, Jesse and Erin, on the program. I think we're definitely looking forward to getting involved with We Source New York City as well. And thank you, everyone, for taking time out of your day today. If there's any last questions, please feel free. This is your opportunity. We will be sending out a copy of the slide deck and the presentation shortly afterwards. And yeah, well, I want to wish you a happy and healthy holiday season, a happy and healthy new year. And we look forward to doing future presentations and looking forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.